check out the YouTube page in the chat. That will give you all the other webinars. And to start out, we're just going to start introducing ourselves and kind of just go right into it. So I am Sarah Housema. I am the Southeast Southwest ADR.
Hi, I'm Dawn Weimers. I am the Midwest ADR.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Bargy. I am the ADR for the Great Lakes in the Northeast.
And I'm Dave Dowling. I work with customers all across the country in cut flowers. And the other ADR salespeople here also do cut flowers and garden center bedding plants.
And hello, my name is Tasia Amaviska, and I work with customers in the Pacific region. And today I'm going to walk us through how to view and change an order in WebTrack. So as Sarah mentioned in the beginning of the video, this session will be recorded so that you can refer back to it. It'll be posted to my YouTube page, which Dave included the link for in our chat. If you have any questions while I am presenting, please feel free to go ahead and throw them into the chat. I'm going to break my presentation up into two pieces. Once I'm done with the first piece, I'll open up for live questions and answers, and then I'll go into the second half. And again, we'll open up for questions and answers at the end of that. So starting here, you guys should all be able to see my screen. So we are looking at the WebTrack homepage. And there are two key takeaways that I want you guys to have from today's seminar. The first one is that you can do almost anything you need to do on WebTrack through this view and change orders feature. So you'll notice down here below, there's an option to track order, start claims, etc. But what you're going to see throughout my presentation is most of this stuff you can actually do through this view and change orders feature. So it's very important that you get familiar with this section of WebTrack and learn how to use it. So I'm going to jump right in and click view and change orders. And then this will take me to a screen with a few filters. Now, the second big takeaway that I want you guys to have, and I am telling this to you guys personally because before I started working for Ball, I was a customer of Ball's, and WebTrack to me in the beginning was very intimidating. And I can remember opening up a screen with a whole bunch of different filters, and I thought that I had to enter information into each filter in order to find what I was looking for. But the big piece of advice I have to you guys is that less is more when it comes to these filters. I highly recommend that when you see these filters on WebTrack, you go ahead, you don't enter anything in any of these filters, you press search and you see what comes up. I believe a lot of times you're going to find the information you're looking for just by doing this. And then if you're not pulling open what you're looking for, then go back, apply one, maybe two filters and try your search again. So starting with this, I'm going to go ahead and press search just so we'll get our little pop-up down here. Now, every time you log into this view and change order screen on WebTrack, you will have an automatically filtered date range. And this is why I say that most of the time you're going to automatically pull open whatever it is you're looking for. So you can see that every day you log into WebTrack, WebTrack is going to pull data up to a month prior. So today is May 10th. It's going to pull back to April 10th. And then up to a couple years in advance. So what this will do is this will pull open any orders and also uncompleted orders that you have scheduled to ship anytime after April 10th, 2023 and into the future. So down below here, you're going to see that they show up in chronological order. It would have been helpful if I had more orders to really show you guys that. But let's say I had 10 different orders in the system. One that was going to ship April 10th, one that was going to ship April 22nd. You will see those in order here down below, with the caveat that any orders that are open or require attention, which I will go into later, will have a red flag on them and they will be at the bottom of this list. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to walk you through everything you see down here below so that you understand what you're looking at when you're looking at an order. After that, I'll cover these different buttons that we have here. And then I'll also cover the filters up at the top. And then we'll do a deeper dive into a couple of these action functions that I'm going to show you guys. So starting here down below, each line represents one order. So this is one completed order in the system. Again, any uncompleted orders will also show up as their own separate line at the bottom underneath your completed orders. So starting under the action column, you can see a few different little graphics here. If you click the printer button, you are automatically going to download a confirmation of your order. Remember, a confirmation is not the same as an invoice. Confirmation will show what you currently have on order, along with pricing for the plants, royalties, and tags if it's available. But it will not show you your final shipping charges. That's your invoice that you'll receive later on. So again, click this, you can download it and then print a copy if you need to. You can also, the second clip art image here is to view an order. So I recommend this anytime you want to look at an order you have already placed, but you do not want to risk canceling it, changing it, or adjusting it in any way. You just want to look at it without changing it. So you can go here and click view order, which is going to open up your order into a shopping cart here. So I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive on this later. For now, I'm going to go back. And then the next option is to change your order. So you'll notice that when I click change order, this screen is going to look exactly the same as view order. However, I'm going to have access to more of these buttons at the top of the screen where I wouldn't have had access to them before. So from here, I can add to the order, I can change it, and then refinalize the order and update all of those changes I made. So going back to the main screen, the next option is I can also copy an order. So if you have an order that you placed in the past and that was like the perfect order, or you only needed to change a couple of things, you can actually copy an order and place it for a future date. So let's say you had a lily order last summer that was perfect. You can go in to this view change order screen, find that old order, and then copy it and place it for this summer and for next summer and future years. The next icon we have here is to start a claim. So let's say you had an issue with an order. You can come in here, find the order, and actually go ahead and start the claim right from the screen. You can also, with this little paper clip, if I had already started a claim on an order, I could go into here to change it. So again, this is the action column. Next, I'm going to go over the status column here, where you will see one of about 6 things. So you will see a green circle and the words all
Can you help
changes
me with
for.
this for a second?
I'm gonna have someone mute that. Perfect. Okay, so you will see a green circle with the words all changes for any order that has been completed, and you can make any change too. So this means you can increase the order, you can decrease the order, or you could cancel the order. At a certain point in production, you have already committed to the product and the supplier has put it into production, and your order is going to switch to increases only, where you will see a yellow triangle and you will see the words increases only. This means, exactly as you would think, you can only increase your order at this point. You can no longer decrease or cancel it without a penalty. If you have a situation where you desperately need to cancel or decrease an order, you can reach out to your rep or to our ColorLink team, and we can let you know if that's a possibility. But 99% of the time, we're only going to be able to add to the order. Then right before shipping, you will see a red box with the words no changes. So exactly as you would think, this means the order is too close to shipping. We can no longer add to it, subtract from it, or cancel it. You will also, let's say you had placed an order, it was open to all changes, and you decided to cancel it. So for any canceled orders, you will see a red X here, and that represents something that's canceled. Now, as I mentioned, any item that is or order that is open and requires attention, you will see a red flag here at the bottom. You can see this red flag for one of 2 reasons. Either you started an order and you never finalized it or finished it, or you placed an order, you went back in to change it, and you never finalized your changes. So the easiest way to tell with this is if you go in and view the order, you can even go in and change it. Remember, you're going to see the same info on the screen. If you open up the screen and you see your green, yellow, or red dots here on the left-hand side, that means that you have already placed this order The only thing that has not been saved is whatever changes you tried to make since placing the order. In this example, you can see I don't have any of the green, yellow, or red icons here on the left. So this represents an order that I have never finalized or finished placing. So here I'm going to go back. The other thing you might see in this area here is a little icon that looks like a lock. And what happens is if you go into WebTrack to adjust or change an order, and let's say you have multiple screens open and you forget about the order and you leave it open, that session is going to time out. But because it timed out while you had that order open, it is now locked and only you can unlock it. So if you log into WebTrack, you see the little lock icon, go ahead and click the lock. And then up at the top of the screen, you will be prompted to unlock the order and you want to click yes. So sometimes if you're working on an order and let's say you call our rep or you call ColorLink or our customer service team and we say we can't do anything because the order is locked, that just means you timed out on the session and we need you to go back in and unlock the order so that we can access that information. Because unfortunately, while it is locked, no one else can make changes to the order until you or the person who caused it to lock unlocks it. So then moving on a little bit here, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. You're going to see the ship date. Remember that this is the ship week. This does not mean that my product is going to ship on 2-12-2024. This means my product is going to ship the week of 2-12-2024. This is the corresponding ship week to the ship date. This is the order number. This is something I also like to highlight. If you have a question about a particular order, this is a great screen to come pull the order from. And if you're, let's say, drafting an email, you can come double click on it and copy it into your email. One thing that I see a lot is people come to me and they'll say, hey, my order number is such and such, and they're actually pulling the purchase order number or the invoice number, etc. So this is a great screen just to see, okay, this is the actual order number. You can see we also have a purchase order number if this is something you utilize when you're placing your orders. There's also a customer reference field, and I highly recommend this. So when you are checking out on your WebTrack order, up at the top, you will have some different boxes. You can add a purchase order number, but you can also add a customer reference. And so this is a great spot to put in a 1 or 2 word blurb, just explaining what's on your order. So this would be useful. Let's say I had 15 different orders in the system, but only one of them had dahlias on it. By putting the word dahlia here, then every time I go into this view change order screen, I'm going to see the word dahlia and I'm going to be able to immediately go to my dahlia order. Makes finding your orders a bit faster. Then next we have the supplier here. So each supplier has a 3 or 4 digit code, which you will see underneath the supplier name. We have the product, which is how Ball or WebTrack classifies the product you're ordering. The ship to city, your address, the city where the product is going. The quantity of plants that you have on order. The number of trays that you have on order. And then this here is really important. This is the case quantity. So I think this is a very helpful reference. So let's say you had placed an order months ago and you've gotten some order changes and you wanted to double check and make sure that your cases were full before shipping. This is a great screen to come to and see how full your cases are. The one caveat that I like to mention to everyone is if you are ordering bulbs or bare root material, typically the case quantity generator here is not always accurate. So in the case that you're ordering bare root perennials or again bulbs, don't necessarily, I would say take this with a grain of salt and reach out to your rep if you have questions. But if you're ordering plant, plug, or liner trays, this is usually going to be very, very accurate. Also mention that if you tend to see like 1.02 cases, please reach out to your rep about that because a lot of times, even if it's a very weird decimal that may not make sense, that typically means you might have an extra box coming, anything above 0.000. So then moving on, here is the tag ratio. So if you have any questions about the tag ratios, reach out to your rep or our ColorLink team and we can better explain this. This will simply tell you at a glance, are you getting tags for your order? If so, how many tags per plants per plant are you getting? You'll see the word multiple here if there are multiple tag ratios applied to different items on your order. And then also we see the planned ship method. So this is standard routing. You might see FedEx overnight, customer pickup, just depending on how you chose to ship your order. Once your order has shipped or tags for your order has shipped, you will see a blue truck icon here, and you can click it, which will give you a little pop-up in the middle of the screen with a link which will take you directly to the tracking for your order. So this is a great example. I mentioned you can go from the WebTrack homepage straight to tracking your order, or you can also come here to the view and change order screen where you can track orders, change them, and do a whole bunch of different things. Then there's also a value column. So this is an estimated price that is pulled based on your plant royalty and tag price. However, there are some suppliers that WebTrack will automatically generate how much they think that you will pay in shipping, and that is not always accurate. So I highly recommend if you're trying to look at what your plants cost, I would go over to this printer icon and again, download a confirmation and see what the cost of your plants is. There is also then here at the end a create date and time, which just tells you when you started the order or when you placed it initially. You'll also notice at the top of all of these columns are these little arrows. So let's say, I mentioned in the beginning that everything's going to show up chronologically based on the ship date. Let's say I had wanted to see everything from a specific supplier. I could actually click this and it would alphabetize my list based on the supplier. And I can reverse the alphabetization and see it in reverse order as well. So this can be handy as you have a lot of orders in the system and you want to play around with that feature. So with that, because that is a pretty big section with quite a bit of information, does anyone have any questions directly related to what I covered right down here? Okay, well, I think, and you guys have been able to manage the chat. We're good on that. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to jump up here then. So there's a few different buttons that I'll walk you guys through. So view order entry details. If I click this, I will get a few more columns here, which will tell me who entered the order, when the order was entered, but also when the last time it was changed. It'll also tell me if there's notes on the order. I can read the notes. I can refresh my search, which will go back to what my original search was here. I can email or print or copy selected orders. So what this means is on the left-hand side, if I had a bunch of orders in the system, you'll see that any completed order has a little box here on the left. There's also a little box at the top if I want to highlight all of the orders. And I can choose to email copies of these orders. And so I could enter an address up here. I can also choose to print these orders, which is the same as if I had hit this little printer icon here. This will download a confirmation of it. If I highlight multiple of these boxes and click print selected orders, it will also print a confirmation for everything that I have selected on the left-hand side. I can also copy multiple orders. And then there's a printable view feature here. You can play around with this. I don't typically use this one very often. Just gives you a different way of looking at your orders. And then I can also download the results into an Excel shopping cart. So then jumping up here at the top, so let's take a look at these filter options. So again, I recommend when you're on WebTrack looking for something, go ahead, press search, see what comes up. If you're not finding what you're looking for, then take a look at your filter options. So walking you through these options here, we have, you can filter by ship to address. So let's say you're shipping product to multiple addresses, you could filter out a specific address. You can filter by supplier. You can click this and scroll down. So if you only wanted to see your current orders in the system coming from one supplier, you could do that here. You can also enter an order number or purchase order number. This is something that I also just caution, as I mentioned below. It's very easy to get your purchase order number, and the different numbers associated with your order mixed up. And if you accidentally enter the wrong number, then you're not going to pull the right order and you're not going to have anything in your search. So be careful to if you're searching or filtering by these options. And then you can also change the ship date filter. So if you need to change that, you can click this little calendar icon. And what I highly recommend is if you're like trying to, let's say, look for something that you know shipped in January. Of course, January is before our April 10th date here, so I can move the little arrow here and go back to January. I recommend whatever date you think you're trying to pull data for, choose a date or a ship week 2 to 3 weeks before that, just to help make sure that you will pull what you're looking for the first time. So for example, I could click a different date here and adjust my search. I could also filter my search by ship week. I could only look at orders that require attention, or I could choose to only look at completed orders and take that filter off. And then there's also a filter search here for material description. So let's say maybe I didn't have the customer reference field filled out here, or I had ordered a lot of petunias throughout the season, and I wanted to find the order that had my midnight gold petunia. Or perhaps I'll use as an example here, I had wanted to find an order that had my dahlias in it. I can actually type in any word of any item that is on that order and press search. And I'm going to only pull open orders that have that search word there. So this is a very, very helpful feature that I know my teammates and I use a lot when we're looking for specific orders in WebTrack. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to refresh the search. So then one quick thing I wanted to highlight, actually, I'll do a quick dive into these actions and then I'll highlight some of my favorite features of this page and we'll wrap up for final questions and answers. So again, we had walked through the difference between viewing and changing an order here. So remember that when you view an order, you're not going to have options to make any changes. When you jump into changing an order, I would recommend if you have any questions about the shopping cart that you see on your screen here, go back to some of our previous videos and WebTrack trainings where you will find a better breakdown on that information. But don't forget, you can add more items to your order. You can choose to abandon any of the changes you made, or you can also, any changes that you did make, you can finalize the order here. If you are looking into copying an order, you can click this copy icon. And you will see you'll get a host of or a few questions that you have to answer, just deciding how you want to put things in your cart. If anything's discontinued or not available, how do you want it to appear? So you can do that here. It's pretty straightforward. And then we also had that starting a claim feature. So just a very quick overview of what I use this page for the most is I would say this is a great page to download your confirmations, make any changes you need to your order, start a claim if you had an issue with your order. This is a great place to check and see if changes can still be made to your order. A lot of times if you ask your rep if you can make a change to your order, we're going to jump straight to the screen and see what this colored icon is here. I also really like the case quantity feature here to see how full your cases are. And then also the tracking feature here. If I help someone track an order, I'm usually finding it from the screen and tracking it from this little blue truck that'll pop up here. And with that, I think that is everything I had for you guys. So if you guys have any questions or if my teammates have anything they would like to add to my presentation, now would be a great time. I don't know, Dave, are you trying to talk to us?
No.
Okay.
There you go. I think
Well,
one of the, I think one of the biggest things with WebTrack is to remember it's geared both to the smaller grower who may do 2 or 3 orders a year, and some of the huge customers might have 500 orders in the system. So that's one reason why there's so many search options, because you might have a big grower who just wants to know all their petunia orders, and they might have 50 different petunia orders. So it's a system that's geared for both the small grower to use and the really big growers. And I always like to say, it's just like the first time we went on Amazon, you had no idea what to do, how it worked. But after you shopped on Amazon a couple of times, you know how it works. And it's the same way with WebTrack. Just go in there and play with it. You can't make a mistake unless you go to the very end and check out and put in your payment information. You can make all the mistakes you want up until then and not hurt anything.
Well,
Perfect.
thank you, Tasha. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That's really good.
Thank you guys for joining. We knew this would be a smaller turnout just being the week of Mother's Day. So thank you guys for who did choose to join us here today. And we will post this recording so that you can access it in the future. And we'll post it for everyone else who registered but was not able to join us today. But thank you guys all for your time.